Hey YouTube, I am Jeremy IP TTM down here in sunny South Texas, and you are watching Canadian Cards.
What's going on, everybody? Mike here, Canadian Cards. Just thought I'd shoot a video. It's been about a week. Just been busy with work and football meetings and other things. I wanted to go over this set. This is one of the first insert sets I collected as a kid. These were they're like little punch outs. I don't know if you can see it. They're from 1972-73 O-Pee-Chee. They're blank back, but you can see they're all still intact. It's a 22 card set. I've got the full set. It's in really good condition. I'm actually probably going to move it. A guy wanted it, and I think I'm going to move it. But anyways, I just wanted to show it off before I let her go. So I know you guys don't do hockey, but some of you are interested in the older stuff. So I'll show you this. So this is Pat Quinn. Pat Quinn passed away a few years back. He's a native of Hamilton, Ontario, my hometown. There's an arena in Hamilton actually named after him. So Pat Quinn, number 2 in the set. Mr. Phil Esposito, brother of Tony, former Boston Bruin. I think he's from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. So he's number 2 in the set. Number 3 in the set. How could you not have Bobby Orr? Bobby Orr's one of the all-time greats. And again, on these, it's funny. The instructions say push out, moisten back, press firmly to flat surface, and then there's the French version again. But some of these are from my childhood, and some of these years ago I grabbed the balance and made the full set. So Richard Martin. Richard Martin was part of the early 70s, the French Connection line, along with René Robert and Gilbert Perreault. He's Montreal native, I believe. Stan Mikita, Chicago Blackhawks. Famous, probably most famous for Wayne's World. The donut diner they hung out at was called Stan Mikita's Donuts. Bill White, also former Chicago Blackhawk. Bill played for Team Canada in 1972, part of the Summit Series between Canada and the Russians. And so he got one of the insert cards. Next up, Mr. Red Berenson. Red had a lengthy career with the St. Louis Blues, and probably more notably in USA hockey. He, I think he is, or at least he was, a very, very long-serving coach with the University of Michigan Wolverines. Next up, card number 8 is Gary Bergman. Kind of journeyman defenseman. Not really sure why he made this list. He's definitely, there's a few guys in here that made the list, and you know, they were average players, but hey, he made it on there nonetheless. Number 9, Mr. Marv Edwards. Marv is a part of the Edwards family goaltending family. There's a relation somehow along the lines to Roy Edwards, and I think his nephew is former Sabres goalie Don Edwards. For you folks up in Minnesota, this guy, I don't want to speak out of turn, but Bill Goldsworthy passed away. I think he went blind before he passed away. I think he was, I'm not sure what he died of, but something strikes me as that being the case. And this guy was touted to be one of the next stars in the NHL. And I think at one point he missed the elusive 50-goal scoring mark in one season. I do believe he got 49 goals one year. Next, from my Montreal Canadiens, former defenseman Jacques Laperriere. Got into coaching after his NHL debut, or NHL career. And I think he started out, I think he played for St. Louis at one point as well. Next up, the man, the myth, the legend. None other than Hamilton's own Ken Dryden. Can't say too much or enough about this guy. He was the kid. He was the player I idolized growing up. So yeah, fantastic. Love Ken Dryden. Okay, and I'm back. Apparently my phone decided to conk out, so I'm going to do this in 2 parts. Sorry about that, guys. Ed Westfall. Ed played, he was the first he played for the Bruins when the New York Islanders started out. He was the very first captain of the New York Islanders. Next up, Walt Tkachuk, longtime New York Rangers. Brad Park, Hall of Famer, instrumental in starting up the NHL Players Association. So that the NHL players had a union. Very outspoken guy, and he was a good one. Doug Favell. At the time, I believe Doug was playing for the Philadelphia Flyers. He's a former Toronto Maple Leaf. This one has like a print dot right by my thumb here. I'm not too sure, but just notice that now. Next up, the entertainer, Mr. Eddie Shack. There was a song back in the early 70s, a 45 that you could purchase in Canada. It was called Clear the Track. Here comes Shack. Here's one of the guys, not really sure why he made it. Jacques Caron, played for the St. Louis Blues. Goaltender, but nonetheless, he's there. Probably the biggest hero in Canadian hockey history, Mr. Paul Henderson, scored the tying and winning goal in Game 8. They did an 8-game series against the Russians in 72, 4 in Canada and 4 in Russia. And the Russians dominated in Canada, but when it went back to games in Moscow and throughout Russia, Canada kind of turned the tables on them and won that series. Another guy, defenseman from Toronto, Jim Harrison, journeyman defenseman or center, didn't have much of a career, but he made it. This guy, Dale Talon, currently the GM of the Florida Panthers. He was a number 2 pick. I want to say he was the number 2 pick behind Gilbert Perreault back in, I think, 71 or 70. Buffalo and Vancouver were the expansion teams, and they did a random draw, and Buffalo got the first pick. They took Perreault. Vancouver took Dale Talon. Still involved in hockey. And last, former captain of the Vancouver Canucks, Mr. Orland Kurtenbach. So it's been probably combined on the 2 videos about 7-8 minutes. Probably wasted so much of your time, guys. But there you have it. 72-73 player crests, OPG inserts. So again, thanks for your time. Hope you're all doing well. Talk soon.